Okay, we're practicing graphing rational functions. Okay, this is the third video. We're still dealing with asymptotes that are either at zero or the powers are the same, which is the coefficients a over b. So I'm going to quickly go through finding the information that we need. So again, I use that acronym TBB0. Okay, so I'm quickly do it. So I get x-intercepts at -5 and +6. Those come from my top factors. My vertical asymptotes are at x equals 4 and x equals -8. The powers are the same, so we use the coefficients, which gives us 1/2. And then our y-intercept, we plug in 0, and we're going to get 5 times -6 on top, and then 2 times -4 times +8. And so on top, you're going to get -30. On the bottom, you're going to get 2 times 4 times 8, which is -64. And then that is your y-intercept, which turns positive, so you get 0, and then +30 over 64. Okay, so now let's graph all of our information really quickly. So my verticals are at -8, +4. My horizontal is at 1/2, so it's basically right here. Then I have x-intercepts at -5, +6, and a y-intercept, which is 0, +30 over 64, so that's going to be somewhere in here between 0 and 1. Okay? Now, again, when you're graphing these, remember, what's not there is as important as what is there. So when I look to do this left side right here, it's either going to come down my asymptote and follow my horizontal that way, or come up and follow it that way. Well, if it's coming up this side, it's going to have to cross the x-axis, and we have no x-intercept there. So it's going to come down and follow up my asymptotes there. Now, conversely, on the other side, I do have an x-intercept right there. So this side is going to come up, cross, and follow my horizontal. It might even actually cross my horizontal asymptote and then come back down to follow it. Now in the middle, this is going to be pretty easy because I already have 2 points. We know we cross the x-axis here. We know we have this point above it. So if we connect those, this one's going to go that way, and that one's going to go up that way. And that second point really helped. That y-intercept right there really helped that middle part. Okay? All right. Now our second one. Again, I'm going to quickly find my information. So start with the top to get my x-intercepts. So they're at 3, 0, -4, 0. Then my vertical asymptotes are at 0, x equals 2, and x equals -6. My horizontal, since the bottom power is bigger, it's automatically at 0. And my y-intercept, since I have a asymptote right here, my asymptote is non-existent because I actually have an asymptote on the y-axis. So let's draw the vertical asymptotes at -6, 0, and 2. Horizontal at 0. And then my x-intercepts at 3, +3 right here, and -4, which is right here. Okay, so this one's going to be a lot of work because we're going to have to plug in a bunch of x values. So let's start with the left side, where x equals -10. -10 is going to give me negative, negative on top, and negative, negative, negative on the bottom. So net's negative. So we're on this side. So it's going to come up from the bottom and follow my asymptote that way. X equals +10 is going to basically be the opposite, where I get positive, positive on top, and positive, positive, positive on the bottom, which means at 10 we're on the positive side. So this one also kind of follows the same pattern, except here it's going to cross and then come back down to follow my asymptote. Okay, now let's look at my middle pieces. So let's look at when x is -1. So when x is -1, my first factor's negative, the second one is positive. On the bottom, it's negative, negative, positive. Negative divided by negative is positive, so it nets negative at -1. So at -1, we're on the negative side. So now that I have my x-intercept and this point, I know that it's going to do this. Crosses the x-axis and then comes down like that. And then my last part, I need to plug in +1. So when I plug in +1, on the top I get negative, positive. On the bottom I get positive, negative, positive, and a positive because negative divided by negative. So I'm on the positive side. No x-intercept here, so I'm not going to cross the x-axis. I have these asymptotes that I can't cross. So basically, since it's on the positive side, it's going to come down, and then it's going to turn around and go right back up. Okay. So my next problem. Again, start off by writing all my information. X-intercepts are at -4, 0, -7, 0. Vertical asymptotes are at +7 and at -5. The powers are the same, so my horizontal asymptote's at the coefficient, which is 4/1, or 4. And my y-intercept, we plug in 0, and we get 4 times 4 times 7 over -7 times 5, which is +5. Now, 7 and -7, that'll give me -1 on bottom, 1 on top. So basically, it's 16 over -5. So 0 and -16 over 5. Okay? Fractions. So start with our asymptotes. I have one at -5 and one at +7, like that. My horizontal is at 4, all the way up here. My x-intercepts are at -4 and -7. And then I have a y-intercept, -16 over 5. That's basically 3 and a little bit. So it's going to be somewhere right there. Okay. For this one, I'm not going to have to plug in anything because I've got everything I need here. Because on the left side, since I have my x-intercept, I know it's going to follow the asymptote, cross, and then follow that asymptote. On the other side, there's no x-intercept, so it has to be up here. Can't cross that x-axis. And in the middle, since I already have this point and this point, I know that they connect. And so it's going to look like that for the most part. Okay. And the last problem, x-intercept, I only have one at 5. Vertical asymptotes are at x equals 7 and x equals -3. Horizontal is at y equals 0. And my y-intercept, when we plug in 0, we get -5, -7 times 3, which is 5 over 21. So 0, 5 over 21. All right, graph our information. So at -3, vertical asymptote, +7, horizontal at 0, x-intercept at 5, 0, and a y-intercept at 0 on the positive side up here, 5/21. I don't argue with my students on where exactly that is. That's close enough. Okay. Technically, it's closer to a quarter, but at this point, it doesn't really matter as long as it's between 1 and 0. All right. So let's start with the easiest part. The middle this time is our easiest part because I have an x-intercept and a y-intercept. So basically, it's going to come up this side, cross, and then go up that side. Since I have those 2 points in the middle, I don't have to plug anything in. Now on the left and the right, I still got to plug in. So plug in -10. When I plug -10 in, I get a negative on top. I get a negative and negative on bottom, which nets negative. So I'm on the negative side here. So it comes up, follows it like that. And then at x equals +10, basically the signs are the exact opposite where they're all positive. So at +10, I'm on the positive side. So it's going to be up there. And that is graphing rational functions. Just make sure that you know what each case is going to do and then pick the best one for the information that you have.